with the most, M-O on THEMOSHOW, Chicago. Sorry about the lighting. Lighting is not important right now, but I can help the situation. It's like this live just popped up right after I finished typing in, my title. I couldn't sleep tonight. It is 5:20 a.m. Sunday morning. Let me help this out. That's better, right? That's better, okay? No music. Have a topic. Robert Brooks. Could not sleep without doing this story, this live, because this live, if you visualize, seeing right now that I'm doing this on my phone, I'm not giving you the video footage of what happened to the man, but I want you to visualize with me. And what you can do is do yourself a favor. If you want to get the full synopsis of what I'm saying, look at the video and open another tab and listen to me as you watch the video. Or videos, because there's many out there. The death of Robert Brooks. Robert Brooks, black man. I have to specify black man. Normally, if you're a man, you're a man. But in this case, they made it very well known. Time and era in which we're living in. Robert Brooks, beaten to death by Marcy Correctional Facility officers. Now, they're still part of law enforcement now, because they work in the jails and they work in the prison. And when you get to prison, you're a slave again. And apparently, they do what they want to do without fearing repercussions, whether they're wearing body cams or not. And in this case, they were. Had the sound off, it was in some mode on the camera that cut the sound off, but the footage remained recording. I wonder if they knew that, being as smart as they are. 14 people have been fired. White people, white men, along with the medical staff who did not say anything or tried to stop the situation from happening. No one had any common sense or any humane sense. And I have to, emphatically say white men, because it was white men who did this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, yes, and I still call him honorable. Despite what they tried to catch him up on in the charges, but he did not get charged with anything. But he said that the white man is the devil. That's what he said. historically, you cannot refute the man. Robert Brooks, handcuffed, no way to protect himself whatsoever. If you all wanted to have an idea of what it was like on the slave plantation, Marcy Correctional Facilities officers gave it to you. Can't even sleep. Had to say something. How many of you all got loved ones out there? That's in jail. That's in prison. Robert Brooks was in prison for a reason now. He was in prison for stabbing his ex-girlfriend to death. Not she's his ex now because she's dead. But he stabbed his girlfriend to death. Stabbed her in the neck, stabbed her in the chest, stabbed her in other parts of her body. If I'm not mistaken, it was the torso area. Needless to say, he killed her. And this, which he was convicted of, was in 2017. So he was in 7 years of his prison sentence, being transferred from Mohawk Correctional Facility, which is in Herkimer, New York. Anybody that know about upstate New York, you all understand the geographical area in which I'm speaking of. And he was transferred to Marcy. But those 7 years, this never occurred or happened, or this evil act of devilishment occurred before he was transferred to Marcy. Now, just from reviewing the video footage that's all over social media, you can go anywhere online and find this. Do you think that Elijah Muhammad was right when he told you that the white man is the devil? 14 white men, police officers, aka KKK, did this to this man. While he didn't do anything, did one of these officers know or knew Diane Rivera, who was the girlfriend of Robert Brooks? But according to the reports of complaints against Marcy Correctional Facility, I would have to say that this is not an isolated incident. Would you? Just think about it. Historically, how long has this type of violence, terror, gone on in America? Let me try to get some more lighting over here. They say that the white man is the #1 terrorist in America. And everybody that's out there whoever you are. My guess, trolls or agents, okay? But either way, you know that I'm not lying. And you have to ask yourself, are you really the devil? Who would do such an act in 2024 and not immediately charged with criminal acts, but just fired? Now, the Attorney General for New York State, Letitia James, I think she's going to have a field day with this. You have to ask yourself right now, the very same stupid so-called part of law enforcement, prison guards, correctional officers, is that a part of their duty? To beat a man to death. Now, mind you, there was another case where they had a white man by the name of Adam Bowler, who also was almost beaten to death. Within 1 year of his release date of being released from Marcy prison, and the sergeant in the video has multiple complaints against him, but yet they still allow him to be on the J.O.B. And where is the Department of Justice? Do you think that the Department of Justice could be like Houdini or wave a magic wand and have all of this done with if they really wanted to? If you're a black man in America, let this be an example to you of how not to go to prison, of how not to go to jail. Do your best. Because once you are incarcerated, you are no longer a civilian. You are a slave. And that's according to their own framework of constitution. Because when they wrote the Constitution, you were not even thought about. Had you not in mind, except being 3/5 of an animal or a human, whichever one they say. But needless to say, you are the very same ones that produced them. I'm sorry. The very same black people that they are continuously murdering, and that we as black people are continuously murdering ourselves. We gave birth to these people scientifically. Where was your God? Where was your Jehovah? Where was your Allah? Where was your Yahweh? Where was your Jesus? To stop the devils from doing what they were doing. God didn't even intervene. However, I had to ask myself a question. Was this karma for him murdering his girlfriend in some type of way? Whether those police officers, correctional facilities officers knew her or not. And who was the her? Diane Rivera, his ex-girlfriend that he killed, murdered, cut off her electricity like chicka, 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 chicka. He did that. Was that justice due to him? Well, if that was justice that is due to him, shouldn't there be a lot of people paying a justly cost? A lot of people, especially a specific section of a people. Sad, but true. Like I say, now it's what? 5:35 in the morning. Haven't had no sleep. Couldn't really sleep. This gives you a lot of unrest. This should tell you as black people that they call. But how can a people be a people and they are a color of a crayon box? I guess that's a whole nother conversation. You had sergeants participating in this acts of violence. They called black people criminals all day. The majority of white law enforcement call black people criminals all day. However, I would want to emphatically re-emphasize on the point and on the fact that even white America says that white men are the most terroristic people in the country. I'm just saying. Those police officers, those correctional officers, so-called, were not even concerned about what they were doing. No. Is it because they have no fear of the repercussions of killing a black man who was handcuffed, who was just being transferred from one facility to another? And this is what can happen to you. This is what can happen to me. This is what can happen to your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your grandfather. This is what can happen to them. I highly recommend that black men stop going to jail. Do you think Donald Trump will pardon these officers? I mean, he has said that he's implementing an order for law enforcement to have immunity of killing someone. And he has did what? Won the election. It's getting real scary out here. And if you all have no common sense, make sure you understand this, that there is war on black people in America. You know, it's like the Hunger Games. But see, in this Hunger Game, it's a little different. They kill you differently. They bait you differently. And they do other evil acts of violence towards the victim. You know, just like another Squid Game. You know, on Netflix, hey, part 2 just came out. Season 2. Just another way of the Hunger Games, Korean style. Yeah. But the difference between these two is that in Hunger Games and Squid Season 2 and Season 1, these people worked free at one time, but they were still captured or being imprisoned because of debt. So being in debt, could that make you a criminal? Is that the subliminal message of Squid Games? In fact about it, there has been people in America who has went to jail because of debt crisis. Hi, who are you, Angel? Hi, Deep Ajulia. Who? Aja, Ronaldo or Messi, Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Anyway, I want to thank you all for tuning in. How many unreported incidents or deaths has occurred at Marcy Correctional Facility in Oneida? And mind you, that both of these correctional facilities, Marcy and Mohawk, are in the same county, Oneida County. In fact about it, if I'm not mistaken, they also had a mental institution by Marcy up there. They've closed so many mental institutions. I don't know if it's even still there or not. However, they did have a mental institution in Marcy as well. And it seems to be that those correctional officers should have been in that mental institution. They should not have even had a badge or should not have been able to receive a firearm licensed. Now we got many people running around here unlicensed. Hell, I remember a couple of years ago when you had the chief of police in Arizona who did not pass his psychological exams, still was made chief of police. Should that not tell you that they don't care? Should that not tell you that you have a system that is point blank not just for you? You must remember, the same way that they beat and killed Robert Brooks is the same foundation that slavery was built upon for the Atlantic slave trade, which led us to right here in North America. I hope you all are really, because I know the agents and trolls out there. But it's okay. If I did not say anything, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. If you were a white man in America and 14 black men who has been fired for beating and for the death of a white man being handcuffed in their custody, would you feel any sympathy? Not to mention the fact that, like I said, if the shoes were switched on the other foot and black people had all of this violence towards white people, would you have any sympathy for the 14 people who were fired but not yet charged with any crime whatsoever? They still at home, eating cereal, breakfast, having a steak, having sex, enjoying their kids. They're about to watch the football game this afternoon while Robert Brooks is dead? Or do you think that they are shaking in their boots? Do you think that Letitia James is going to play with them? Because I really think that she's going to set fire to their ass. And rightfully so. She should. However, in her statement, she said that this does not represent all of the correctional officers of Marcy. No. Or of New York State. No, 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 no. Letitia James, have you ever been to prison? I think not, seeing that you are the Attorney General. But I know that you had to say what you had to say. And I understand that, and I'm not hating on you. But you better set their ass on fire. Uh-huh. Including the medical staff. You mean to tell me that no one had no common sense except the sense of devilishment, death, and destruction of another black man whom that they felt that they could get away with? Or they just didn't care about their own lives or their children. So you can imagine what their children are like. Can you imagine the children of these correctional officers who did this to Robert Brooks? And this is just not in upstate New York. It is all across America. And they have no law to protect people like me. And there never will be. You have even agents who are really foreigners. You know, everybody talk about how everybody is immigrants to the country. That's a lie. That's a lie. Do your homework. Do your research. Even Columbus said that these people were dark skinned whom he contacted in the Americas. I'm just saying. You had even black kings of Alkebulan, meaning Africa, who traveled all the way over here before Columbus was even here. Some of those people stayed. However, getting back to the subject, just had to give you a history rebuff. Wow, they have us distracted with all of this other news that's going on. Yet, it seems to me that slavery, once again, is in full effect, especially when you go to prison. You may have a chance on the outside, but it seems to me that when you go in, you may not come out. People who are sent to prison or have a lengthy stay in jail, there's no promises that they will return home. And from the looks of it, it's not always the inmates, the other inmates, who will cause them their life. No, it's the very same people who taxpayer pay every day to be killed and destroyed. I remember when I was staying in New York City. They had this billboard. Black people were still being beaten every day by the cops across America. But this billboard showed a policeman with his uniform on and his stick with his gun strapped to his shoulder, beating a black man. And this is what we pay them for. This is where your tax money go. To be killed, to be castrated, to be hanged, to be dead at the hands of the overseer, overseer, officer, officer, overseer. It's sad out here in America at 2024 going into 2025. It is sad. What do? Pack up your bags and leave to another country? It's going to be the same way when you get there, because black people across the planet is hated by all other ethnicities or background of people. It's an actual fact. And if you're black, you should ask yourself, why? And if you don't know why, you should go over to my other channel, MOPOWERZ, here on YOUTUBE. But just to give you a quick insight, it's because that we are somebody and we're not criminals. The real criminals are the very same people who committed the violent act against Robert Brooks. Like I said, they haven't even been arrested yet. They just been fired after killing the man. That's where we at today, huh? Just fired. Even though there is video footage all across the globe specifying and showing you in real time that you killed that man, but you just get fired. That's a hell of a hookup. Even Jesus couldn't beat that. Even Jesus couldn't beat that. Jesus didn't stop what was happening. Your God did not stop what was happening. Are these people devils who committed this evil act of violence and death? Are you going to tell me that the white man was wrong when he publicly announced that he is the #1 terrorist in America? Are you telling me that he's wrong? Are you telling me that Elijah Muhammad is wrong? And I just had to bring him to the forefront, or in that specific part of this conversation or video, because they proved him right. And white America has proven him right since he's been saying it since 1933. But they got all of us hooked on dispensaries. You should see the white people that's out there in Oregon and in Washington State, where everything is legalized at. Like I say, Oregon is they just went off the charts. Legalized cocaine, heroin, weed, and some other things, even mushrooms. Whew. Hey, I went out there to Portland, Oregon, and I tell you, it's bad. If you go down to Memphis, well, you have a concentrated area of black folks. Anywhere in America, It's bad, especially since they have made all of these so-called drugs that they called a, number one drug, or you know what I'm saying, a high risk drug, you know, category one drug. Could it be that they have American citizens hooked on drugs so that they can run this game on American citizens without them being woke or awakened? All of these drugs and all of these states that is approving these drugs. We say marijuana is a plant, but plants don't kill people. Huh? What are you saying, Mo? Have you ever been to a dispensary weed shop in Arizona? Uh-huh. And you look on the back of the package, it says that it contains carcinogens and that it can cause heart attacks, just like cigarettes. Damn, I've never known weed, real weed, to kill nobody, to give nobody a heart attack. But even when you get it from the dispensary, you have to look at what you're getting, because it specifically says this product contains carcinogens and can cause a heart attack. Damn. So do you get it from the street man, or do you go to the dispensary, or do you just grow it yourself? I'm just saying, right? And all of this, which is coming to plague America's citizens, we're not expecting it. We're not expecting what is about to happen. If the American citizens knew what was planned for them, there's a great chance that many politicians would not be left alive. Sad, but true. The Department of Justice, could it be that they condone? Could it be that they condone this action, seeing that they can stop it at a stroke of a pen? Isn't that what Kamala Harris said? She can change their life with a stroke of a pen? Is it obvious? Is it crystal clear that the DOJ really don't CARE? Could it be that the DOJ is just a front when it comes to these type of crimes committed against black people? Just look at the history of this America. I'm just saying. You can leave your comments in the comment section on that. How can you expect respect when you don't give none? In fact about it, some people even say that America should be glad that black people are asking for reparations versus justice. Many black people today are not even ready for justice because they're too drugged up. They're too caught up on being dramatized by foolishness, distractions. Think about that. This America is telling you what they're doing every day, right in your face, but yet you're too traumatized Many people are too traumatized, especially black people. How long have we been traumatized in America? How long have we been traumatized before we even got to America? How long were we traumatized? What's that big slave port in our Kubalan? Uh-huh. Mama Nina. Something to that effect. I'm so tired, I can't get it right in regards to the exact name, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. In their own country, being held against their will, treated like savages. By whom? The very same people whom you see beat to death, Robert Brooks. That is sad, but it's true. And those facts are facts, not just an opinion, not hating on anyone, just looking at things for what they are historically. You can't change that. You can't manipulate that. Like I said, it was like that. We got immunity anyway. That's how they did it. That's how they did this act of devilishment, this act of evilness, this act of Satanism, sacrificing a life. But according to their actions, they really didn't see life. They had no respect for life, but they're getting paid to not respect life. They're getting paid to kill people. I'm going to say that again. Could it be that correctional officers are getting paid to kill people? Could it be that law enforcement is looking for bigots, are looking for people who have the white supremacy frame of thought in their minds? Could it be? All across America. You even have here in Chicago, where you have the Chicago police have over 200,000 secret traffic stops against or among black people and Latinos. They say that they're searching for guns, but they're searching for anything. According to the reports and the statistics, every 150 stops produces one gun. But they say they're looking for guns. If they're looking for guns, they should be on the corner. Because that's where they at. Where's your guns at? Don't you see the plan? Don't you see the plot? All of it is written right on the wall if you put on your magic glasses. But when you put the glasses on, you can't take them off. Nor can you force your glasses upon someone else. See things for what they are and not for what they should be. I'm just saying. What do you think about that? Do you think that these 14 devils, and I have to call them devils because of the devilishment that they produced, the devilishment that they participated in, the devilishment that no one said anything about in the death of this man. But the sad part about it, after they beat the man to death, choked the man to death, and according to the coroners, they say it was because of asphyxiation, meaning they choked the man to death. They even went so far as to try to stuff something down Robert Brooks' throat so that he couldn't breathe. And this is what taxes, people who pay taxes, and most of the people who pay taxes are the poor people. And who's at the bottom of the pole in America? Where's the gas prices in America the highest at? You think about that, because I can get the same price of gas in the hood that I can get for being downtown. But I can go to the suburb and get it cheaper. But the black people are supposed, the poor people are supposed to pay more for gas than the rich people. I'm just saying. Do you think that these so-called or former correctional facility officers will get away with what they did? Or do you think that they will be charged in a court of law or justice? Do you think that the state of New York will try to reach a settlement with Robert Brooks' family? What do you think should have happened to these 14 individuals who were fired in relation to the death of Robert Brooks? Do you think that these 14 people who were involved in the death of Robert Brooks a devil? Do you think that these were devilish acts? Do you think that Robert Brooks would still have been alive if he were left in Mohawk State Facility? And why was he transferred anyway? Did he request the transfer to be sent to another facility? Or was it, you know, prison politics? Was it planned? Was it planned? It don't have to be planned. Trust that. It can just happen on a dime here in America, while many of you think that slavery is over. Could this be a debut of what is to come? Not only in the world of incarcerated people, but in the so-called free world for black people in America. How long have you all, or we all? Yeah, and I say you all because I don't participate in all of the madness. No, I don't. But that does not mean that the swords or agents of the enemy will come against me, will not come against me, because they will. Will the gates of hell prevail against the righteous? They say that the meek is going to inherit the earth. Well, just from my vision, from what I see on a daily basis, the meek is not going to inherit anything but death, slavery, and punkishism. Yes, punkishism. cowardness. That is the state of Black America. They spend billions of dollars to keep you misinformed, billions of dollars to keep you dumb, billions of dollars to make you think that which is up is down and down is up. Billions of dollars. Even in your education system. And in the education system, historically, the textbooks, the curriculums in school, you have to look at who is always the culprit and who is always the victim. Think about that. Are we going back before 1863, 1865? Just think about it. Donald Trump, what are you going to do about this situation? For all of those of you who voted for Donald Trump, what is Donald Trump going to do about the situation? Do you think that he would give them immunity? Do you think that he would have a beer with them at the football game? Like he did Daniel Penny? Do you think that the Department of Justice would do anything about this? Do you think the Department of Justice really cares? Ask yourself these questions. For all of those who think they are citizens of this country, not according to the rulership, not according to the frame mind of the people who are the number one terrorists in North America. And it seems to me, it just seems to me, from everything that has transpired and the consequences of these people's actions, that they're really not too much concerned about what's going to happen. Even Derek Chauvin is trying to still get out of prison. You all remember Derek Chauvin, the Minnesota former police officer. Yeah. And you know what he did? We don't have to regurgitate that. George Floyd. When you're a black man in America, expect to be disrespected. Expect that. Sadly, even by your own people. And this is what makes it so easy for all of this to happen anyway. If there's no consequences. However, the senator of New York, Mr. Orts, said that They're going to have full account of responsibility for their actions. Do you think that is true? Was this planned? Was this? You have to ask yourself. But they even laughed at the fact these so-called correctional officers even laughed at the fact, the good old boys, that they just killed the man and then took all his clothes off his body after they killed him. They tried to cover up like he was having some resistance. With all of the cameras going, even the camera that's in the infirmary, and they know that there's a camera in the infirmary that lets you know that they don't give a fuck. I'm just saying. What is happening in the prisons is just a small rim of a reality that is happening here on the outside world, all across America, the world for that matter. Power's getting low on my phone, you all. I got to get out of here. But if you haven't pressed the subscribe button, press the subscribe button. Go over to my other channels, MOPOWERZ and THEMOSHOW Classics. Do the same. Subscribe, like, and share. My phone is dying, but you all think about that. Share this information with your relatives, friends, coworkers, anyone that you come into contact with. It is a magnificent way to jumpstart your conversation on the death of Robert Brooks and the 14 inhumane people, the infamous people, the evil people, the monstrous people who caused the death of Robert Hooks, who had no remorse for life. Peace out, you all. Thanks for viewing, and never give up on your DREAMS.